There's a power move so potent it can end arguments, dominate boardrooms, confuse enemies, and attract loyalty without saying a single word. It's not charisma. It's not aggression. It's not intelligence. It's silence. Weaponized, calculated, deadly. And if you're not using it, someone is using it on you. In a world that overshares, over-explains, and overrates noise, silence is now the most underutilized form of power. It's what makes CEOs intimidating, interrogators effective, and world leaders unreadable. This isn't about being passive. This is about being untouchable. Niccolò Machiavelli, the master strategist of power, understood this 500 years ago. Today, it's your turn. Because in the chaos of today's hyperverbal culture, silence isn't just golden, it's lethal. Let me show you how. Humans speak to be understood, but they also speak to be accepted, validated, admired. And in the age of social media, the pressure to constantly express, perform, and explain is overwhelming. Transparency is marketed as a virtue, but Machiavelli would ask, whose virtue? Yours or the people gaining power from your disclosure? Every time you speak unnecessarily, you trade clarity for leverage. You give your audience a map of your thoughts. Your intentions become predictions. Your words become liabilities. You become predictable, and predictability is the enemy of power. Think of the politician who overpromises only to be crucified for every inconsistency, or the friend who shares every emotion but slowly loses your respect. When you always speak, you always bleed. And in power, blood attracts predators. Remember, the more you explain, the more people expect explanations. The more you share, the more they feel entitled to your truth. And in the marketplace of ideas, what's abundant loses value. Machiavelli warned rulers to avoid the trap of being too transparent. Everyone sees what you appear to be, he wrote. Few experience what you really are. Strategic silence weaponizes this duality. It allows you to control perception without surrendering reality. Strategic silence isn't one size fits all. It shifts depending on your goal. Let's break it down into 3 powerful modes. 1. The observer's silence. Before you speak, observe. Those who talk first often reveal insecurities. They disclose assumptions, priorities, fears. The observer, however, listens and watches, and in doing so, collects data. Machiavelli would call this the cunning of the fox. He who wishes to deceive will always find someone willing to be deceived. Let others deceive themselves by over-explaining. You? Just listen. In meetings, in negotiations, in debates, notice who breaks the silence first. That's often the person trying to regain control. Hold your tongue, and you become the one they're reacting to. 2. The authority silence. True leaders don't babble. They speak when necessary, and their words land with gravity. Think of the CEO, who makes a brief, firm statement and leaves the room. Think of the general who listens more than he commands, until the crucial moment. Why does this work? Because humans equate selectiveness with intelligence. The fewer words you use, the more people assign meaning to them. In Machiavelli's language, this is the lion's intimidation without a roar. Distance builds respect. Mystery builds allure. The more you say, the more ordinary you become. 3. The Ambiguity Shield. Not everything needs a definition. Not every opinion needs to be declared. In fact, the most effective players in politics, business, and even personal life intentionally remain vague. Strategic ambiguity is not lying. It's letting others project their interpretations onto your words, or your silence. It buys you flexibility. It allows you to shift without appearing inconsistent. In Machiavelli's Italy, this was the difference between survival and downfall. And today, it's the difference between being boxed in or remaining 3 steps ahead. Silence doesn't just work on the battlefield of strategy. It works in the trenches of psychology. Here's how. 1. Projection principle. When you say nothing, people fill in the blanks, and what they fill in often reveals them, not you. Their fears, their desires, their narratives. That's an edge. Silence lets you uncover truths without asking a single question. The right pause at the right time is more revealing than 10 interrogations. 2. Status through restraint. People chase what they can't easily access. That includes attention. That includes opinions. When you withhold yours, others lean in. The spotlight doesn't always belong to the loudest. Sometimes it belongs to the person who could speak, but doesn't. Machiavelli understood this implicitly. His princes didn't dominate with noise. They dominated with precision. 3. Discomfort as a weapon. Most people can't handle silence. They squirm. They rush to fill it. That's where your power lives. In negotiations, a pause can force the other side to speak first and give more than they planned. In arguments, silence can feel like dominance. In leadership, it signals unshakable control. It's not always about the words. It's about who controls the tension. Let's be clear, we're not arguing against honesty. We're arguing against excess, against the compulsion to speak because silence feels uncomfortable, and against the cultural narrative that sharing everything is synonymous with strength. It's not. Over-disclosure is vulnerability without purpose. It turns strength into spectacle. And Machiavelli would call that strategic suicide. In startups, oversharing vision before the model is tested invites mockery and competition. In relationships, dumping every insecurity early on sabotages attraction. In politics, too much candor narrows coalitions. The modern world tells us to be transparent in everything, but this is often used to extract power from the speaker, not to empower them. What begins as authentic expression can quickly be weaponized against you. A vulnerable tweet becomes a viral scandal. A genuine confession becomes a soundbite. In today's attention economy, silence isn't avoidance, it's self-preservation. Strategic silence doesn't mean you're hiding the truth. It means you're delivering truth on your timeline. When you hold your words, you hold your power. You force others to live with uncertainty, and that discomfort becomes your leverage. Transparency is not always a gift. Sometimes it's a burden, one you carry while others benefit. When you overshare, you lose control of the narrative. But when you are silent, you hold all the cards. Mastering the art of when to speak, and more importantly, when not to, isn't just wise. It's survival. Let's get practical. How do you implement this? Here are 5 actionable methods, expanded, refined, and optimized for real-world power. First, use the 3-second rule. Before responding to any question or comment, pause for at least 3 seconds. This moment of deliberate silence disrupts the rhythm of reactive speech. It gives you time to assess not just the question, but the power dynamics behind it. This rule isn't just about thinking. It's about controlling the frame. You'll notice that those extra seconds shift tension to the other person. You remain composed. They grow uncertain. It becomes a psychological pause button. And once you master it, your words carry more precision, gravity, and strategy. Second, Speak last in group settings. In meetings, high-stakes negotiations, or even casual group debates, aim to speak last. This grants you full visibility of everyone else's ideas, tone, and emotional state. You gather data, and most importantly, you stay above the fray. Speaking last allows you to address gaps, redirect outcomes, and make your voice the anchor of the discussion. You're not chasing relevance, you're commanding resolution. Over time, people will begin to wait for your input, knowing it will carry weight. That's influence. Third, answer with questions. Power isn't about having the best answer. It's about asking the questions that reshape the conversation. When asked for your opinion, don't rush to deliver. Instead, redirect. Why do you ask? Or, what outcome are you hoping for? These questions elevate your role from participant to strategist. You shift from defending a view to architecting the conversation itself. This isn't avoidance, it's orchestration. In any power dynamic, the person asking the right questions is the one truly in control. Fourth, drop statements without explanation. Deliver your thoughts with finality, not permission. Make statements that stand alone. That won't work. We're going another direction. I don't agree. Say it. Stop. Let others sit with it. The silence that follows creates space for respect or discomfort. Either way, you own the tension. This habit removes the temptation to justify, over-explain, or soften your position. When done consistently, people start taking your words at face value and respecting your boundaries without question. Fifth, train intention. This is the advanced level. Put yourself into conversations or settings where silence feels emotionally risky. Tough negotiations, confrontations, moments when your instinct screams to speak. Then, don't. Hold. Breathe. Sit in that fire without reacting. Over time, this rewires your nervous system to handle psychological heat. The result? An unshakable presence. People will notice your calm when others panic. Your ability to hold tension becomes a power signal, one that others instinctively defer to. The world is loud, but influence often whispers. Machiavelli didn't glorify silence because it was poetic. He understood its utility, its leverage, its ability to unsettle, to conceal, to control. In modern life, crowded with sound, oversaturated with opinion, those who master silence become magnetic. Not because they say nothing, but because when they finally speak, every word lands like a thunderclap. So ask yourself, are you talking to be heard, or are you silent to be understood? In the end, the game of power isn't won by those who shout the loudest. It's won by those who know when to shut up and how. And when you master that, you don't just win. You win quietly, completely, and without warning. Thanks for watching. If you found value in this, like the video, subscribe for more insights on strategy and power, and share this with someone who talks just a little too much. Until next time, stay sharp, stay silent,